Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Wednesday, March 26th. Okay, so today we have the moon in Aquarius energy until 6:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to go into the void. And in that void, things are shaky, things are unstable, things are uncertain. And then we lock into Pisces energy at 3:33 p.m. again, Eastern Standard Time. So in a normal transition, we are going from the highest form of our intellect, acting as the observer, being emotionally detached from our situation and circumstance with the moon in Aquarius, to diving into the ocean of emotion into Pisces energy, where we kind of abandon our intellect, we move into our feelings, we move into our intuition. But this is a little bit different. This is the first time that the moon is going to be in Pisces energy since we moved out of Pisces season. And let me be very clear, this is going to feel like we are backpedaling back into Pisces season. And again, it was a very tough season for many people. It beats us up, it breaks us down for good reason. This is going to be a major, quote unquote, setback. It actually isn't setting anything back. It's putting us in a situation to reflect from a different perspective, from a different set of eyes. However, there's going to be a lot of feelings come up that will kind of fool us into thinking that, again, we're back into the depths of the darkness. We're back stranded in that emotional ocean and that we're not making any progress. Do not let that delusion fool you, okay? Because again, Pisces energy is all about confusion and delusion, the shadow part of it anyways. What was clear is going to become very foggy. What you were sure of, you're going to second guess, and it is going to feel all over the place. Now, that being said, today is also the last day that Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, she's going to be retrograde in the Aries energy. She will be shifting back into the Pisces energy here tomorrow. Take a listen to that astro forecast, get out your March energy guide, capture what's going on for you. And if you want to do a deep dive in Venus's retrograde, there is a astro class over on my Patreon that you can jump in, you can listen to. This is going to be the final hurrah. This is going to be the last chapter of reflection of the deep dive in our fields. Basically, her time in Aries energy was about us putting into perspective who it is that we need to be in order to do all the things that need to be done in order to create the realm and reality that we're currently visualizing in our mind's eye, that we're craving in our heart space. And we realize now what we have to let go of, what we have to end, what we have to close the door upon, thus the Pisces energy. We have to go back into that Pisces energy, wrap up those karmic chapters, wrap up those old emotions before she goes direct. So there's definitely going to be a lot going on here today. We have some, I'm going to say, very tough aspects popping off, which of course is going to help put into perspective what we have to end, what we have to close the door upon. And that never feels good. And the moon being in Pisces, we're hypersensitive, we're hella emotional, we're hella confused as well. And there's going to be this want, need, and desire to just abandon it all, to curl up in a ball and just kind of, live in la la land and not have anything to do with reality at all. And of course, we have to avoid doing all of those things because you have to feel it in order to heal it. This is the last hurrah, if you will, to kind of really expose those wounds in order for us to heal them in a much better way than they were healing in the past. And of course, none of that is fun. Now, I don't mean to be all doom and gloom here. We do have some very positive aspects helping us as well, but we're in the particular part of the lunar cycle as we get closer to this new moon solar eclipse in Aries energy, where we have to face the darkness. We have to face those wounds. We have to face that pain and trauma because there's a reset coming at us, and we have to acknowledge the pain that has helped shape us into who it is that we currently are in order for us to heal those particular parts of self, for us to become who it is that we always have needed to be. So with that being said, there are 12 different aspects popping off here today. 10 of those aspects are going to involve the moon. right out of the gate, we have the moon still in this Aquarius energy, making a very uncomfortable interaction with Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desire, even our anger, who of course is still making his way through the Cancer energy. Now, again, just a reminder, we have been dealing with Mr. Mars in this Cancer energy dating back to late October. We slipped into the Leo energy early December. He retrograded at that time, started backtracking into the Cancer energy early this year. And we have been making our way through this Cancer energy. At least he's direct at this point. We have that going for us. But at the same time, we're going nowhere fast, and that is frustrating as F for Mr. Mars. He wants to take action, he wants to make moves, but right now, all he can do is fight, defend, protect what it is that he's already built, already created, and really do the work within himself to stabilize his emotions. And that is not fun for any of us. Now, this particular interaction is going to bring up the frustration that we're feeling, where it is that we're feeling blocked, where it is that we're feeling challenged, where it is that we are getting tired of the same old, where it is that we're hella defensive, where it is that we just want to move on. And of course, emotionally speaking, with the moon in Aquarius energy, we're very futuristically focused, and Mars would love nothing more than to take action and make moves on what we could actually be making some progress in to advance ourselves into a new path, into a new direction. But again, his ass is sat on the bench. He can't do anything about it. And so he's getting frustrated as F. He's defensive as F. He's a little bit moody because Cancer energy, again, emotionally speaking, we're all over the place. And this energy just doesn't have us feeling good. Now, what we can learn from the not so nice thoughts and feelings and, all of the frustration is what we're actually passionate about, what we actually have a desire to do and to pursue when gifted with the green light go ahead to actually take action and make moves. We don't sit in this energy for too long, thankfully. We do have the moon in Aquarius sextiling, which is a beautiful interaction with Chiron, the wounded healer, who of course is in Aries energy. So this is us like calming ourselves down, saying, you know what, we're going nowhere fast. We are put on pause. Our ass is sat on the bench. So what we can be doing right now is building ourselves up intellectually, emotionally, focusing in on the positives, focusing in on what we have healed, what we have gone through and grown through, what we have evolved through at this particular point, and really kind of push ourselves into bossing up, into being the version of self that we need to be in order to do all of the things that need to be done to break away from this old version of self and again, start anchoring in the new more and more so that we can start again, vibrating at the frequency that is going to attract us or be a vibratory match to the wants, needs, and desires that we're anxiously wanting to pursue. We have Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves, retrograde. So again, we're looking back, we're reflecting, we're revising, we're reassessing, we're reanalyzing. We have him in this Aries energy, making a beautiful interaction with Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings. Jupiter is in Gemini energy. That's why we've been on the fence about a lot of the ideas, a lot of the past decisions, directions in which we could be taking, but we're questioning whether we should be taking, again, back and forth, up and down, ebb and flow, all over the freaking place. Now, here's the thing. Aries energy is a fire sign. Gemini energy is an air sign. What do we get when air and fire mix? A spark, a fire, a flame. There's going to be an aha moment. There's going to be a combustion point. And because Mercury is the ruler of the mental plane and thoughts and ideas, and Jupiter is wanting to grow and expand on some of those ideas, suddenly we see a bigger, broader picture of the possibilities, of the options, of the opportunities that we have to grow and evolve in. So again, we aren't being downloaded with all of the information needed. We aren't kind of gaining all of the clarity that we're craving. However, we are getting some puzzle pieces that are snapping together and giving us a little bit of a, again, bigger, broader picture than what we've been previously sitting in. Now, let me also just say that because Mercury kind of rules over communication as well, because he's retrograde and communication isn't flowing as easily or as nicely as we would like, because again, he's in Aries energy, so there's a little bit of spice there, a little bit of aggression there. What I will say is you have to use a filter. Okay. We have the potential right now to just blurt out some very strong thoughts and ideas and opinions that aren't ready to be shared at this particular point. Jupiter magnifies whatever it is that we're thinking and feeling. And when it comes to kind of speaking out and speaking off the cuff and without a filter, we could be verbal vomiting in a way that it doesn't necessarily have to be bad, but we're not ready to share some of the big ideas that we're currently having. We haven't thought about them yet. We haven't explored them yet. We haven't researched them yet. It's not time to share. Now, yes, there's going to be an impulse there to want to share because that's what that Aries energy is all about. However, logically, practically, we don't have a plan. We have no clue how we're going to get from point A to point B. And let me just tell you, you should never be sharing some of the thoughts, some of the ideas that you are excited about, because that is how you set yourself up to have the wind knocked out of you, to have somebody shit or rain on your parade, so to speak. You have to keep the good ideas, the good vibes to yourself until you're ready to execute upon them. And that is not at this particular point in time. So keep your lips tightly closed when it comes to wanting to verbal vomit, overshare, over kind of commit, because you're going to regret it. That is my warning. That is my caution point. Do with it what you will. The moon in Aquarius is going to make a beautiful interaction with Saturn. Saturn being the Lord of Karma, ruling over roles, responsibilities, systems, structures, foundations, willpower, and discipline. He is in Pisces energy, again, helping us to dissolve, deconstruct the false belief system that the old version of self was operating on, that built the old world that we're currently looking to walk away from. Now, coming out of the interaction between Mercury and Jupiter, this is actually going to help us out because the moon in Aquarius, again, futuristically focused, Saturn brings a seriousness to the game. He brings a little bit of a reality check. Lucky for us, this is a positive interaction, so it's not a harsh one, but this helps us to get organized in our thoughts, organized in our feelings, very focused on where we need to get our shit together, to get a plan together on how we're going to kind of deconstruct and dissolve and close the door on particular chapters in order for us to, again, start executing on this new plan, this new strategy on how we're going to get from point A to point B. So yes, there is a little bit more of a serious tone that takes over, but that's not a bad thing. It helps us kind of, again, get honed in, focused on the important parts of the plan that at this particular point is still very much up in the air. We have the moon in Aquarius energy getting into the boxing ring, squaring off with Uranus. Uranus rules over this Aquarius energy, so this is going to be a little bit more intense than it would be if we were interacting with a different planet that doesn't rule over the energy that the moon is in. Uranus, of course, is the Great Awakener. He is in Taurus energy. Aquarius and Taurus energy are both fixed signs. Thus why we're having the square. So this is like an internalized tension point. This is like a conflict point that we're having within ourselves. Why? Because squares show where we're going through growing pains. Now, Uranus in Taurus energy, we've been struggling to let go of the things that we need to let go of in order to set ourselves free, to pursue a new path, to make some progress in a new direction. Mostly because fixed earth signs hold on to the old for dear life until something new shows up. But we all know that that's not how the universe works. You have to kind of give those things up, create the space to kind of signal to the universe that you're serious. That is when the new things will show up, when you create a space for them. So because Uranus is a destabilizing energy, there's going to be a major kind of shake up in our inner realm. We're frustrated. We are kind of torn between letting things go and having the time, the energy, the space to build something new. Our consciousness, which Uranus rules over as well, is developing at a very rapid rate, but we still can't make sense of it. Because this is a square, because we are fighting ourselves at this particular point in time, we're going nowhere as fast, and we're creating a lot of restlessness, a lot of anxiety, a lot of questions in ourselves that technically do not need to be there. And so again, may I just remind you that when Uranus is involved, Our central nervous system takes a lot of energy, a huge jolt of energy, and it does not make us feel good. Please listen to the Ascension forecast for this week in order to stay ahead of the game. Now, it's at this particular point in time, 6:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, that the moon is going to go void of course. So again, Uranus destabilizes naturally. He shakes us up, he wakes us up, and now we have the moon tripping into the void where things are shaky, uncertain, and unstable anyways. With the moon in this void, we're actually going to make a very positive interaction with that North Node in Pisces. So this is actually going to help us out because we're kind of, where the Aquarius energy is a fixed sign, we tend to hold on to things. Pisces energy is a mutable sign, so we've obviously been presented with information, with perspective, with insight to prove that if we continue to do the same old and hold on to the same old things, that we're only going to get whatever it is that we've already got. Mutable energy shows us where it is that we have room to adjust, or we have room for improvement, to switch things up, to change things up in order to get a different result. That North Node has us focused on the future. And here's the thing, this is the point in time where we're starting to understand that we have to blend our intellect with our intuition. Yes, we have to have logical, practical plan together, but we also have to trust and have faith that we are being guided by a bigger, broader force than just us, especially just our ego selves. And so this is going to show us where it is that we do have the opportunity for growth, where we do have the opportunity to kind of evolve. And if we can flip the script and see some of the challenges that we're currently facing as a challenge to rise up and rise above and put into practice what it is that we've learned, instead of seeing it as a challenge, an obstacle that is just punishing us and keeping us stuck, then we have the option to grow. And that's exactly what we need to do. We have the moon in this Aquarius energy, still void of course, making a positive interaction this time with Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desire, even our anger. Again, still in this Cancer energy. So we have Aquarius energy, which is fixed air. We have Cancer energy, which is cardinal water. So again, we have another opportunity to kind of get a grip on our emotions, get a grip emotionally and intuitively on what we're passionate about, what we truly desire, what we want for our futuristic selves, and get hell-bent, damn well and determined to not sway off of the path. Mars in this particular interaction is going to help us boss up. Because the moon in Aquarius is very futuristically focused, Mars is going to help us kind of double down on where it is that we need to secure our inner realm of emotion so that we're not bouncing all over the place, that we're not, using our frustration to burn ourselves down and burn ourselves out. Instead, we're going to use our frustration to help build motivation, determination to see a particular chapter through. The moon in Aquarius then going to make a positive interaction with Neptune. Neptune, of course, in the final degree of his rulership here in Pisces energies, in his final week of being in his rulership here in Pisces energy, as he will be shifting into Aries energy pretty much on the very last day of the month. Now, that is a major astrology event that I talked in depth about in the 2025 year ahead overview. If you want to go ahead, take a listen to that, by all means, do so. We need to stay ahead of the game here. There is going to be an astro class here this week on that particular energy event as well. This is going to be closing out an era, pushing us into a brand new chapter, brand new era. There's definitely a lot going on. And in the final days of having any planet interact with Neptune in this final degree of Pisces, this is going to be major epiphanies, major aha moments, a major pivot point. The moon interacting with Neptune at this point is putting us in a situation where, yes, we are thinking logically and practically about the plan, about the strategy that is needed in order to break us out and break us free from our current circumstances. But Neptune in this particular interaction is helping to build our trust, helping to build our faith, helping to align us with our higher selves so that we can kind of really lean back and trust that the universe has our back. Even though we can't see the path forward, we know that we are essentially where it is that we need to be. Now, this being said, there is a lot of sensitivity coming in. We are picking up on energies that we're not familiar with. And because we're in this void where, again, things are just bouncing around, uncertain and unstable, Neptune brings a level of, I'm going to say delusion, but we're using delusion in a positive way at this particular point in time because we're giving ourselves permission to move into La La Land, imaginary land. Really, again, with the moon in Aquarius energy, we're thinking logically and practically about the future that we want to build, that we want to create. But Neptune in Pisces energy is helping us to actually visualize it, to feel it. Because, of course, that's a very important part of manifesting that many of us have not perfected, have not mastered as of yet. 3:33 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the moon shifts into Pisces energy. Again, a reminder, this is going to have a lot of emotional energy. This is going to be very deep, very reflective. It may feel at times like you are absolutely backtracking, like you are falling back into Pisces season, like you're feeling beat up and broken down in a lot of ways. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Now, lucky for us, we have a beautiful interaction. The very first interaction with the moon in Pisces is going to be interacting in a beautiful way with Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money. She's retrograde. She's in the 0 degree of Aries energy, preparing to dip back into the Pisces energy. And so again, there is a lot of heart activations. There are a lot of feels. There's a lot of reassessing. There's a lot of reflection. And especially where old emotions are coming back, rising to the surface of our awareness so that we can acknowledge it from a different perspective. We can integrate it. We have to feel it in order to heal it. This particular interaction has a little bit of a reminder of what we're fighting for, because we may very well lose that clarity when Venus dips back into the Pisces energy. So this is like the last fire energy, if you will, to kind of remind us where the passion, where the desire, where that fire, spark, and flame is alive and well within us, pushing us forward into this new version of self towards the goal, the vision, the dream that, of course, our heart space now wants us to pursue. Just a couple of moments later, we are going to have a very difficult interaction pop off. This is between Mars, the god of war, and Chiron, the wounded healer. Now, Mars in Cancer energy is getting into the boxing ring, squaring off with Chiron in this Aries energy that Mars naturally rules over. So first of all, a square means that we're going through a major growing pain, and it's going to highlight the tension and the conflict that we're currently experiencing while trying to move through this challenging period, through this challenging time. Because Chiron is the wounded healer and he's being aspected in a very not so nice way, this is going to rip open the old emotional wounds that we thought we were healing, that we thought were scabbing over very nicely, healing very well. We're picking those scabs off, and we're even kind of ripping at those particular wounds to make them worse than they actually are. Does this feel good? Absolutely not. Is it supposed to? Absolutely not. What are we supposed to learn from this? Well, we're supposed to be learning what it is that we're actually passionate about, what it is that we've been holding too tightly in our heart space, meaning we have a lot of new ideas. We have a lot of new passions, a lot of new desires. We also have a boatload of anger that has been boiling under the surface, whether we are aware of it or not, whether we've been trying to hide it, suppress it or not. It is boiling to the point where it is burning us, and we have to let it out. And so, first of all, Mars is on the defense anyways. Now that he's being kind of poked and prodded, he's even more defensive. There is an agitation, a touchiness, an edginess. We feel like everybody's out to get us. We feel like we're being punished. We feel like we're just being put in a situation where nothing is going right. Everything is going wrong, where we're not given the freedom, if you will, to change. And that is suffocating. So you want to talk about triggers and activations? This is one of those times. You want to talk about realizing where it is that we've been masking a lot of those heavier thoughts and heavier emotions? This is one of those times. You want to talk about where it is that we're probably going to make a mess of things just because there is a little bit of a tantrum going on within us. And instead of bossing up and being accountable and responsible for our own damn selves, that we're probably going to project a lot of our anger and frustration on people that do not deserve it. this is one of those times. So this is going to trigger a lot of mess. This is going to trigger a lot of wounds. This is absolutely necessary for this particular part of the process. Again, we're in eclipse season. We're in retrograde season. The moon just dipped back in Pisces. Venus is going to be dipping back in Pisces. Mercury is going to be dipping back in Pisces. The new moon solar eclipse in Aries is going to be closing a 2-year chapter of where it is that we had to break away from codependent relationships, break away from trying to keep a smile on our face, nodding while everything is fine when realistically we're falling apart and dying inside. We have a lot of endings and closures taking place in preparation for this beautiful launching point. But you best believe that things are going to get tricky. Things are going to get triggered. Things are going to get activated the closer we get to this eclipse energy. And this particular activation is setting everything off. Now, that being said, we sit in that for like 3 hours, okay? Now, not to say that it totally goes away. This is going to be a background energy for the next couple of days. We do have the moon now in Pisces energy making a beautiful interaction with Mercury. So Mercury, of course, ruler of the mental plane, retrograde in Aries energy. This is also one of those interactions where, again, we have to kind of remind ourselves what it is that we're fighting for, what it is that we're doing all of this healing work for, because when Mercury dips back into the Pisces energy, which he will do just hours after the new moon solar eclipse in Aries peaks, we might lose sight of the goal, of the vision, of the dream as well. So the moon being our heart space, and again, in Pisces energy, there's a lot of feels. Mercury being our headspace, again, not thinking as clearly as we would like, but again, still reanalyzing, reassessing, revising our plans, our goals, our visions, our dreams. They're working together. So there is a little bit of a realization of the endings and closures needed in order for the beginnings, the initiation process is something new to actually take form. Because our heart space, the moon, and our headspace, Mercury, are working together, we're trying to get on the same page of what needs to be done. And where communication is concerned, again, a little bit fiery, a little bit spicy, a little bit not using a filter in that Aries energy, which could create a problem. However, this is a positive interaction, which means that there could also be some conversations, some communications needed in order to heal. The moon in Pisces is here to heal particular karmic chapters. And with us in this Aries energy still, Mercury being in this energy still, we're not as close-lipped as we will be when Mercury moves back into the Pisces energy. So this is a beautiful interaction, especially coming out of that very tough interaction between Mars and Chiron. We're realizing where we're angered, where we're frustrated, where we haven't been expressing ourselves, where we haven't been advocating for ourselves. And the moon and Mercury working together may just provide an opportunity for us to have that voice, to initiate that conversation, either with other people or even just within ourselves, in order to get a lot of things off of our chest. Now, the last thing that we have going on here today is the moon in this Pisces energy making a beautiful interaction with Pluto, the great transformer, who of course is in Aquarius energy. This is a major, major change, major transformation, major boss up energy in our emotions. And because this is a positive interaction, this is a healing energy coming from the moon in Pisces. This is a transformative emotional healing coming from, again, these two interacting. Pluto being in Aquarius energy, we are focused on where improvements need to be made, where adjustments need to be made in order to set ourselves free, liberate ourselves, so to speak. Because the moon in Pisces, again, all up in the feels, especially in order for us to provide the endings and closures to karmic chapters that, again, we need to put behind us. This is a beautiful, beautiful energy for us to kind of speak our truth, for us to get a lot of things off of our chest, to strengthen the intuition, the higher self, the insight needed in order to, again, stay focused on why we're doing all of this hard healing work. It doesn't feel good in the moment. It is definitely worth the reward in the long run, in the end. But at this particular point, we need to be grateful that this is a positive interaction, helping us to kind of boss up, to stand in our power, to stand in our authority, to get some things off of our chest, to kind of reframe a couple of things as well, in order to provide us with the healing and the closure that we absolutely need.